Last episode saw West Ham climb to the top of the Premier League table for the first time, but after a tough defeat in the Champions League, we've got it all to do against Bayern Munich if we want to keep our European dream alive. But as ever, if you're enjoying the series so far, please feel free to like and subscribe, and let's get into today's episode. However, if we are going to be firing on all cylinders this episode, we are going to be relying heavily on the assist leader, Savio. He came knocking at my door last episode demanding to know why he's not getting enough game time, and so to try and keep him sweet, I offered him a nice little salary bump and a contract extension, which he was more too happy to accept. And it seems like it's done his performances an absolute world of good. Lead in the assist chart so far this season with 6 to his name. He's also got 6 goals in a real breakthrough season for the 21-year-old Brazilian. And whilst it seems like it's doing us wonders in the Premier League as we've managed to climb all the way to top spot, now 2 points ahead of our rivals Liverpool, and pretty good in the FA Cup as well, as having secured a more favourable tie in the 5th round against Barnsley. It's one that we managed to get through relatively unscathed, with Savio getting on the score sheet once again as we beat them 4-1 and secure our spot in the next round. Another fairly favourable tie against Norwich as we look to try and defend our current FA Cup crown. And with hard-fought wins in our next games against the likes of Arsenal away from home 1-0 and 3-1 at home against West Brom, the squad seems to be in great form and inching ever closer to its first ever Premier League title. But after a really hard-fought game in the Champions League in Munich that saw Bayern come out with a 1-0 victory, it's time to see now if we can resurrect our European form in the second leg. And a big game obviously means a big return to my strongest starting 11. Mere, Van Eyck, Diamande, Hanko, Tierney, James Ward-Prowse and Alvarez, with Kudus and Savio behind Gyökeres and Jarrod Bowen up front. Here we go then, an absolutely mammoth clash here at the London Stadium. Two teams that were fairly evenly matched in the first leg, but only pipped to the post by a single goal from Bayern Munich, are going to go head to head and lock horns here once again. And Kingsley Coman is the man who's going to get things started off here for Bayern Munich as he tries to drive into my box here. He's held up a little bit by Diamande, who does a really good job of winning the ball back. That is exactly what I want to see from my commanding centre-back now, as Kudus is going to try and see if he can bring the ball forward into Jarrod Bowen. A really nicely done ball into Jarrod Bowen once again, and he plays it into Victor Gyökeres on his right. What a fabulous way to start off this game. In the opening 8 minutes, the big Swede once again pops up with a fabulously well-worked goal. From one end of the field to the other, a lightning counter-attack. Kudus into Jarrod Bowen, into his striking partner Victor Gyökeres, and when the Swede is in these types of positions, more often than not, he finds the back of the net. I'm delighted. It's back to 1-1. What a brilliant way, the perfect way to start off a huge clash here at home under the lights. 1-1 on aggregate here, and now it is anyone's to play for, and surely this goal puts us in the ascendancy. And it's Kieran Tierney now who's going to be the man to try and bring it out of defence. Gyökeres is looking for that run down the channel, instead goes down the left-hand side, but does manage to keep hold of the ball. He's going to look to try and go one-on-one with Upamecano. Does manage to do it, but the Frenchman manages to hold him up. Savio, the Brazilian, into Alvarez, who takes it on. Deflected, it's a West Ham corner. Well, we've started this game absolutely brilliantly. We are taking the fight here to Bayern Munich, showing no fear whatsoever. It's thrown into the box. Headed away though. Kudus will pick up the loose ball. Back out to Savio. Short one into Jarrod Bowen, who tries to keep it alive, but he's blocked off though by the Bayern Munich defence. Kudus out to Alvarez, who gets the shot all wrong, and in the end it's easy for Bayern Munich to clear the lines. Palhinha tries to float this one over the top. Does a really good job of doing so. Diamande heads it down though, only into the path of Kingsley Coman, who's wriggling around really well. Finds Harry Kane right on the edge of the box. Diamande though, once again, is in the right place at the right time. He is really starting to form a formidable partnership at the back with Hanko. I'm really starting to establish himself as my strongest and my number one centre-back. But Kingsley Coman has it once again, and he does this time manage to wriggle away from Diamande. Harry Kane out to Tchouaméni, who strikes from distance, forces Mere into an early save. His first save of the game so far, but he's looking lively. Van Eyck out to Kudus, who's come central, and he does do a really good job of getting away from the challenge of Tchouaméni. Out to James Ward-Prowse. Savio now to float it back in, looking for Kudus. My word, I thought he was going to get there, and he just run underneath the ball. Harry Kane, lovely ball into Musiala, and has the young man got the pace to get away from Hanko here? Into the box he goes. Hanko does just about enough to hold him up, but he still managed to keep hold of the ball. Look at the skills trying to wriggle away. He still managed to get onto it, but Milan Van Eyck is the man who gets in the way. Every single man putting his body on the line there to keep West Ham in this tie. But Bayern Munich have got it once again, and Harry Kane strikes from distance. This time Mere forced into another big save. Well, after taking control of the tie in the opening 20 minutes, the German side started to awaken at the back end of the first half, proving that they are still very much in this game, and proving that there is still very much left to play for here in the second half. Diamande out to Milan Van Eyck, down the line into Kudus. Kudus trying to see if he can find some sort of angle to deliver across, and instead is absolutely hacked down there by the left back, who gets a yellow card for his troubles. And of course, who else but James Ward-Prowse to be the man to step up to take the resulting free kick, and he's going to try and see if he can fire it into the penalty spot here. It's a good ball over, looking for the big Swede, who manages to get his head on it, and he gets his second head before the goalkeeper can get there, and from absolutely nothing, West Ham United have taken a 2-goal lead, and now we lead 2-1 on aggregate. Well, there was a crowd of people people in the box, and Gyökeres headed it up into the air, and it looked like there were about 3 Bayern Munich players and the goalkeeper rushing out, but none of them could get ahead of the big Swede, and Victor Gyökeres gets his second goal of the game, and he's given us a commanding lead here in the Champions League. Well, from sitting pretty at the very beginning of this game now to really struggling here in the second half, Bayern Munich have got it all to do to try and see if they can find a way back into this game as Tuchemeni tries to see if he can go past Hanko into Harry Kane. Lovely pass into Musiala. It's a carbon copy of their goal in the first leg, and just like that, after all of our hard work, Bayern Munich are back on level terms on aggregate. Once again, Harry Kane found himself in the box. He had the opportunity to strike, but instead played the unselfish pass to his German teammate Musiala, who of course from that angle and that distance absolutely smashed a strike past the goalkeeper. 2-1 here, 2-2 on aggregate. Savio now, I would have expected a lot more from the Brazilian, and that is more like it. So far he's been pretty quiet, but with skills and tricks like that, anything is possible. As James Ward-Prowse has it, there was just a couple of players in the way there, but we've managed to keep the ball alive with Van Ewig into Jared Bowen, forces the keeper into a save. He spills it, and fortunately enough for him, it just about lands to the feet of Upamecano, who rescues him. There's Leroy Sané now for Bayern Munich. This game is really starting to open up and to become very end-to-end as Kieran Tierney now has the chance to play in. Victor Gyökeres looking for his hat-trick. Into the box he goes. That is absolutely splendid. The big Swede gets his third goal of the game and once again manages to lift us into the lead on aggregate. Well, my word, he is stepping up when I needed him to, and look at that, lovely ball into the channel. He's got the pace to get away from the centre-back, and that is a cool, calm and composed finish if I've ever seen one. Just slid it past the goalkeeper with his left foot, who had no chance whatsoever. West Ham are back in front 3-2. Leroy Sané now into Harry Kane. Once again, the German club have got it all to do to find a route back into this game, but once again, they are not turning away from the challengers. Tuchemeni now into Harry Kane, blocked off by Diomande though, struggling to fight off the Englishman, but Kingsley Coman is the man who gets on the loose ball, and just like that, within a blink of an eye, once again, Bayern Munich are back on level terms. Well, defensively, we just couldn't clear our lines. Diomande should have hacked it away, but he ran into a bit of trouble, and because Kingsley Coman was able to challenge him, it left a gaping hole in the defence, and of course, the Frenchman is not going to miss from there. The goalkeeper tried to make himself as big as possible, but it wasn't big enough. 3-2 this game, 3-3 on aggregate. My word, what a round of 16 tie we've got on our hands here. Alvarez now. Over to Kieran Tierney. Just under 10 minutes remaining on the clock here for one of these two teams to finally find the breakthrough, as we tried to with Victor Gyökeres, but Upamecano was equal to it and managed to get the ball clear for Bayern Munich, but Alvarez has won it back in a really good position. Savio now back into Gyökeres, into James Ward-Prowse, the Englishman to take it on. It's blocked off by the defender, falls to Savio, lines it straight at the goalkeeper, but he was in an offside position anyway. Musiala now down the channel into Martinelli on as a substitute, and the former Arsenal man has managed to get into the box here. Has he done enough? No, he hasn't. Brilliantly defended by the goalkeeper, but they keep it alive. This time Diomande gets his way into Musiala, who wriggles around, and Musiala, deep into stoppage time, has done it for Bayern Munich, and the West Ham players are crestfallen. Look at them in the background. They have fallen on their backs and their knees. They cannot quite believe what they've just witnessed here at the London Stadium. Well, look at this. Alvarez looks to the skies. He cannot believe it. Unbelievable stuff here. Bayern Munich peppering the goal. We had everyone back, but we just didn't put a challenge in enough, and it was too easy for Musiala. Mere was just too close, didn't even dive from that angle. We were trying to block absolutely everything, but it's just not meant to be here in the Champions League. Once again, we find ourselves down and out of a European competition. Well, in the last kick of the game, Victor Gyökeres will pick up the match ball, but it's of little consolation to the big Swede because the Bayern Munich players celebrate in the background. They've snatched it at the death here at the London Stadium. It finishes on aggregate 4-3. And I just don't know what it is about European competition, but once again, we've got past the group stage and we've been knocked out in the round of 16. In the first season, it was against Real Sociedad. The second season, it was against Seville, and this year it is against the German giants Bayern Munich. You couldn't have asked for more from this man, Victor Gyökeres, our top goal scorer this season by some distance with 24 goals, 6 of those coming in just 6 Champions League appearances. He's shown the world that he has what it takes to play on the biggest stage, but the rest of the team did not manage those ambitions here today. And as you can see, with the board expecting us to reach the final of the Champions League in our first year in this competition, all of a sudden I've gone from hero to zero, and once again more pressure is heaped on my shoulders in the domestic domestic competitions. Fortunately enough though, we show great character, managing to get ourselves back on track in the FA Cup, smashing Norwich City 4-1 at home, giving us the opportunity to win back-to-back FA Cups, but we're going to have to do it the hard way against the team we beat in the final last season. It's Arsenal in the semi-final. Before we get there though, we've got the small matter of a few Premier League ties, starting off with a 2-0 victory against Aston Villa at home, and a 3-1 victory in our very next game against Coventry City. And with ourselves and Liverpool starting to build up a gap between ourselves and the rest of the Premier League table, it is even more important with just 9 games remaining that we keep up this positive momentum. If we're going to do that though, we're going to have to do it against a team who have their own aspirations of Champions League football this season. That is right, we're heading off to St James's Park for what is going to be a huge game under the lights here for both teams as they seek out a much needed 3 points to keep their Premier League aspirations on track. It's West Ham, it's Newcastle, it's up next. And it's Hakimi for Newcastle, but he loses the ball in a really good position for West Ham, and Savio now has the opportunity to drive into the box here. Has he got any options back ahead of him? No, he doesn't. Instead, just finds Savic. That was a really good opportunity there that we didn't take early doors. Bruno Guimaraes, lovely ball into Alexander Isak, and he's got Anthony Gordon on the left-hand side in the channel, and he manages to play a ball back to him. Alexander Isak, another big Swede, trying to bring this one forward. Lovely piece of play there. It falls past Diamande. Unfortunately, Mere is out just in the nick of time. Well, it's 2 big Swedes leading the line for both teams here today. It's a battle of Sweden here in St James's Park. We've got to hope to make sure that Victor Gyökeres comes out on top. But at the moment, it is Newcastle that are coming out on top as Alexander Isak back into Anthony Gordon, trying to wriggle away from Hanko. But the big man does a good job, and he just about manages to wriggle away from problems himself and finds a ball into Mina van Ewig. Newcastle are pressing us so high here, but we've just about done enough to get away from it here. But the right back continues right up the field here, and he's managed to bypass the press. Out to Savio. Kieran Tierney back to the Brazilian. Savio back into Kieran Tierney. Lovely interchanging pass in between the two of them. It falls to Gyökeres, who can't manage to find his way past the goalkeeper. Kieran Tierney keeps it alive though. Into the right back, Milan van Ewig, who's blocked off by the defender. It's Diamande who's pressing up high there. Brilliant defending from the centre back. And now it's Victor Gyökeres to drive into the box here. Gyökeres takes it on himself, forces Pope into a save. Well, every time both of these teams go forward, they look like they're going to score. And now it's going to be Thuram who's going to take the resulting corner. Floated in, looking for Hanko. Can't get his head on it, but the young Brazilian will be able to get there first now. Can I try and see if I can keep this attack alive here with Thuram? Lovely turn away from the defender. Floated into the box. Look for Gyökeres, who just drags his header wide. It's Kudos once again. Floated over to Kieran Tierney. Brilliant attacking play so far in this game, but both of these teams are unable to break the deadlock so far. Surely it is only a matter of time as Newcastle with Milinkovic-Savic brings it forward now. Longstaff out to Target on the left-hand side. Van Ewig hasn't got the pace to keep up with him. He floated into the box. It's an easy cross in the end for Diamande to deal with, and now it's Kudos to bring it forward. This is counter-attacking play at its finest. Alvarez now across to Jared Bowen. Lovely ball into Gyökeres to put us 1-0 up here. He does what he does best, and that is put the ball in the back of the net. It's 1-0 West Ham. It's 1-0 Victor Gyökeres against Alexander Isak. Brilliant, incisive counter-attacking. Yet again, how many times have I said this season? Jared Bowen with a lovely ball into Victor Gyökeres, who is on hand to just slide it past the goalkeeper. That attacking partnership is proving absolutely pivotal to our title chances this season as we take the lead 1-0. Longstaff. Short ball into Alexander Isak, who I'm sure is determined to find his mark in this game and try and get himself on the score sheet. He's done a really good job of wriggling away from a couple of challenges, but he can't get away from Diamande. So as we begin the start of this second half, 1-0 here so far. Both teams have had chances. Both teams have looked likely to score every single time they go forward. So for me, I really feel like we need to add another to put this game to bed. So it's Jared Bowen now into Alvarez, who's done a really good job of winning that ball back into Kudos. Milan van Ewig now to float it into the box. I was looking for Savio at the back post, couldn't quite find him, but Jared Bowen almost got on the volley there, but he didn't manage to find it. Kudos, though, will pick up the ball, and he's wriggling around here into Milan van Ewig, into Jared Bowen. Jared Bowen can't find his way into the box, so instead plays it back into Kudos, who floated in to the back post, looking for Savio, can't quite find him. Almiron now for Newcastle to try and see if he can hit us on the counter-attack. He has options, and he's found Alexander Isak into Milinkovic-Savic now, out to Hakimi, who's got space on the right-hand side, and we know he has the pace to burn here. Plays a ball into Alexander Isak. Diamande's the man who holds him up. Really good defending once again from the young man. Newcastle really starting to press high here, and that is a lovely midfield splitting pass there. It's now Almiron, blocked off though this time by Hanko. Both of my centre-backs doing absolutely brilliant here today. Savio is taken out from behind there. Surely the referee is going to issue a card. It's only a yellow for Achraf Hakimi. Let's take a look at the replay. Well, let's have a look. I mean, that is is a shocker. That should be a red card. He completely took him out from behind, went through him with 2 legs. How on earth is he still on the pitch? But with just under 20 minutes remaining on this game, it's Newcastle who have possession here, and they've got to try and see if they can find a route back into this game, because at the moment, the 3 points are heading back to London, more specifically back to the London Stadium. But it's played down the right-hand side now into Milinkovic-Savic. It's going to be Hanko who's going to try and hold him up. Doesn't do a good enough job of doing so. It's floated into the box. Alexander Isak off the goalkeeper, falls into the path of Anthony Gordon, who makes no mistake and powers a volley into an empty net. Look at this from an overhead kick from Alexander Isak. Mere, could he have done better? He just palmed it straight into the path of Anthony Gordon, and the unmarked Englishman is of course going to fire it into the back of the net from that distance. 1-1 here. Well, now we've got all the work to do here to try and see if we can get ourselves back into the lead here at St James's Park, as Emerson on as a substitute plays it into Savio now. We're going to try and see if we can spring an attack on them once again, as the Brazilian has the legs to get away from the defenders. Into Emerson. Emerson tried to play it across to Gyökeres, but it was so well intercepted. Alvarez now out to Eze on as a substitute, down the right hand side into another substitute, and Wrench, who surely has the pace to get away from target here. Yes, he does. Floated into the box. It's headed clear though. I thought it was going to fall right into the path of Gyökeres, but instead to Emerson, into Savio, blocked off. Can we get there ahead of the goalkeeper? No, we can't. Well, the Newcastle players walk off the pitch. They've managed to rescue a point here at St James's Park. Much to my disappointment, we haven't managed to clinch the 3 points, as it finishes here at full time. Newcastle 1, West Ham 1. Well, once again, Victor Gyökeres did his job, getting his 28th goal of the season, but unfortunately for him, the rest of the team didn't follow suit. We can take solace in the fact that Liverpool drew 2-2 against Manchester City and were unable to close the gap at the top, and with us managing to get a win against the Manchester Giants, with Kudos getting a last-minute winner to beat them 3-2 away from home. With just 7 games remaining, West Ham United are inching ever closer to Premier League glory. For now, though, it is time for us to worry more about FA Cup glory, as we're heading back to Wembley for another titanic clash here against the team that we beat in the FA Cup final last season, Arsenal. They're going to be seeking revenge here once again. We've got to make sure we do everything we can to get to the FA Cup final. And as ever, obviously for such a big game, there is a return to my best starting 11. Mere in goal, Van Eyck, Diamande, Hanko and Tierney at the back. James Ward-Prowse, of course, partners Alvarez in midfield. Kudos and Savio start behind Gyökeres and Jarrod Bowen up front. And it's Arsenal who have the first throw inside the opening 3 minutes here, but they've gone and given it away in a really poor position. And now Jarrod Bowen has the opportunity to try and see if he can find the cut back to Victor Gyökeres. Well intercepted though by the Arsenal defence. There's Kai Havertz for Arsenal here. He's being chased down and harassed there by Hanko. Does manage to have the strength just to hold him off though. Really good ball into Nketiah, but it's Diamande with a crunching challenge, and now Gyökeres is released, and he's going to try and see if he can release the young German, the young Brazilian I should say, Savio down the left hand side. He's got options in the box. Can he find any of them? Oh my word, that is absolutely horrendous. It's Diamande though to bring it out of defence. Absolutely every man inside the Arsenal half here as we press ahead, try and see if we can unlock this defence. Savio once again has the skills to get past the defender. This time a much better ball into Gyökeres. Gyökeres onto his right, off the bar. It doesn't fall to Jarrod Bowen. It's cleared away by Acuna. That's the best chance of the game so far, but Savio keeps the ball alive into Alvarez. Edge of the box stuff, smashes it against the defender. Gyökeres tries to keep it alive. It falls to Kudos, and eventually Nketiah manages to wriggle away from the challenge. Diamande's under a bit of pressure here from Nketiah, and he's lost it in a really dangerous position, and Jota has the pace to get away from Hanko here, frantically trying to come across. What a save from the goalkeeper. Well, you don't often see Diamande making mistakes like that right on the edge of our half, but that could have cost us. But some really good defending from both Hanko and the goalkeeper has kept Arsenal at bay. But they've got a corner here. They float it back into the box. This time it's Van Eyck with the header away, and it falls very kindly here to Jarrod Bowen, who surely is going to try and look for the run of Victor Gyökeres. It's a ball over the top. It looks like the Swede was offside, and the referee pulls it back for a free kick. Alvarez now into Kudos. Kudos round the corner into Milan Van Eyck. Throws it across. First time of asking. Why, what a clearance. An acrobatic one from Julian Timber. But it's only out as far as the former Arsenal man Kieran Tierney. And he bursts down the left-hand side. Once again looks for another ball in. This time it falls to Gyökeres. Oh my word. He's put it wide. How on earth has he done that? He cannot quite believe it. Let's check the replay out. I thought that was nailed on with the form that he's on at the moment. To just plant his feet and put it in the back of the net. He cannot believe it. It still is 0-0. It's Diogo Jota at the beginning of this second half to take the throw here for Arsenal, and Milan Van Eyck wins it back well out to Gyökeres, but it's Declan Rice who gets there ahead of the big Swede, and now he can continue his pass into Havertz. Arsenal starting off this half much better than they started the first. Now it's out to Saka on the right-hand side. Lovely little ball through right into Kai Havertz. None of my players saw it, neither did I. It's floated in. Milan Van Eweg was almost too calm for his own good. It's Timber to try and bring it away, but he's well challenged by James Ward-Prowse, and now Savio has been released into the box here. Can he wait for the cutback? Yes, he can. Of course, who else is it going to be but the man who always scores in the big games? It is Jarrod Bowen once again who steps up for West Ham United. Well, it all came from James Ward-Prowse winning the ball back in the final third, and of course when Savio has space to run into, the Arsenal defenders are not going to catch him. He laid it on a plate for Jarrod Bowen, and of course he is the perfect man to smash it into the back of the net. It gives us a 1-0 lead. Mere to try and bring this one away, but he's just toying with Saka there. Really nicely done by the goalkeeper. Hanko now out to Kieran Tierney on the left-hand side. Round the corner into Savio. Lovely little touch into James Ward-Prowse, but it's fallen to the feet of Gyökeres, who knocks it back into James Ward-Prowse. This is absolutely beautiful from West Ham United. Jarrod Bowen, oh my word, it's just tipped round the post from Ramsdale, but that was almost a picture-perfect goal. Well, it was the best piece of build-up play all game so far, as James Ward-Prowse will be the man to take the resulting corner. Fires it into the goal scorer, Jarrod Bowen. Can't quite get on the end of it. It's De Ketelaere on as a substitute, though, who will pick the ball up here. He's going to try and see if he can run down the right-hand flank. He just goes past the left-back, and now into the box here. Looking for the cutback to Jarrod Bowen. Gabriel just got a foot in. It is another West Ham United corner, and once again, it's another one that James Ward-Prowse is going to take. Floated into De Ketelaere with his head. Cleared away, though, by the Arsenal defence. So there's about 10 minutes remaining on the clock here for Arsenal, as Gyökeres gets a little bit of a fortunate bounce. He tries to play it past the goalkeeper. Brilliant save from Ramsdale. He made himself look big. We've kept the ball alive, though. Alvarez out to Jarrod Bowen. Takes it on his right. Tries to strike. Gabriel's too strong for him, though. And that's a huge opportunity missed there. But we've kept the ball alive with Victor Gyökeres again, who just hasn't quite found his shooting boots nil today. Perhaps he hasn't found his passing boots either, as he gives the ball away. It's Odegaard for Arsenal now. We're heading into stoppage time here. Is this going to be the last attack of the game? Jota out to Saka on the right-hand side. Lovely little turn to try and get past Diamande. He's got the strength to hold him off here. Right on the edge of the box. Pass one, pass two. What a save from the goalkeeper. Well, that may well have just won us the game here. You can see the other goalkeeper, Ramsdale, is up in the box. Arsenal are going to float this one in. It's headed away by Emerson on as a substitute. Only out as far as Berardi. Kimmich has it, though. He's going to have the chance to find his way into the box. Jota, held up by James Ward-Prowse, out to Saka, on the edge of the box, strikes, drags it wide, and that is that. Well, once again here, we have inflicted defeat on Arsenal at Wembley, and once again, for the second season running, West Ham United will find themselves in the FA Cup final. That man, Jarrod Bowen, is the hero once again. As at full-time, it finishes Arsenal 0, West Ham 1. Well, when one striker's having a bad game, you want another one to be able to step up in his place, and my word, did Jarrod Bowen do just that. 19 goals and 9 assists in all competitions, and since joining West Ham United, he has well and truly become an icon at the football club, always popping up with important goals in big games. And I've just got to hope he's got a couple more left in him as we edge towards the end of the Premier League campaign. 6 games remaining, top of the table. And as after beating Hull City 3-2 in the other semi-final, it will be West Ham United against Manchester City in the FA Cup final. West Ham United have got the opportunity to do the domestic double and do something that not even the most die-hard of West Ham fan would have thought we could at the beginning of the season. But that is going to be that for the end of today's episode. You're going to have to catch the season finale next time if you want to see whether or not we can win both trophies. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you again next time.